I'm in the middle of a bunch of commission cards at the moment, so I thought I would share a couple of them with you. But as well as that, I wanted to pass on some really good news, particularly for people who are living in the US, mainland US, I suspect. You may remember that one of my followers, Anne, was so kind in sending me a surprise gift package. In that gift package were several items that her husband had made on his 3D printer. One of them was this really handy little gizmo. She actually sent me the glue, but she also sent this, which her husband had made, and it's to do this with whilst you are using the glue. Anyway, what he has said is he would be happy to make some for people and send them for an agreed charge. What I will do is I will put his email address in the link below this video so that you can see. And I thought I'd show you this as well. This is another one of the gifts I had from Anne. He made this. And this is so useful for so many things. You may have noticed it the other day when I was doing a card. I put 3 little bottles of luscious powders in there. The ones that I was going to use meant they didn't roll around the desk. It meant that people on the camera could see what colours I'd got. I also put some pots of embossing powder in there that I was going to use. Just keeps them together out of the way. What I've done today is to use it to sort out some of the little floral embellishments that I'm going to use on my card today. So what I've actually done is sorted them into size. That one is a different kind of make, so I put those in a separate one, and these were different as well. I don't know whether I'll use those or not, but that is a really useful thing. So Anne's husband, who's called Dale, is quite happy for you to email him and ask, you know, what you'd like to have. I will put some pictures of some of the things that Anne sent me pictures of that he's made on my Facebook page. I'll try and put them on the community page of my YouTube channel so that people who don't go to Facebook can see them on the community tab. So there we go. Bit of good news. I thought that was really good of him. So one of the other things I use a lot, and I'll show a picture of this, I like little hooks to put, she uses them to hang things on her wall, and I use them just to hold things like this. This is the die I use for this particular size square card most often, so I can just put it up there and grab it easily, save getting out my box of dies. I've got rectangles and squares up there, you know, the ones I use all the time. So those are a huge help to me. So anyway, sales pitch over. I'm going to get back to this card. A friend of mine has 2 goddaughters who are sisters, and some time ago I've made cards for them every year for my friend to give for ages, and one year I made initials, decorated initials, and the family liked them so much that the mum messaged me and said, could I make one for her and her husband as well? And they put all 4 in 4 little shadow boxes because they just love them. So my friends asked me to make more initial cards, but I want to try and make them different from the last time. So I can't even remember what I did, but here we go. One's called Eleanor, one's called Isabel. The birthdays are reasonably close together. So I thought I would do very similar cards. I have on my silhouette portrait, I put the letter I for Isabel, E for Eleanor, offset it and offset that, and cut all 3 from 3 different colours. So what I'm going to do is stick these together. But the first thing I want to do with this, I've already done it to that one, I don't like the edge that an electronic cutting machine leaves. I love my dies so much, and dies leave a rounded edge. It's smooth and it's mellowed over like that. So what I do with these is to take an embossing tool, and this works really well on this. This is a silicone mat. I just go around and just push down the edge, just smooth out the edge of this thicker card. And to me, I find that much more pleasing. To me, the cutting edge, the cut edge, should I say, of something cut on a cutting machine looks raw. It looks like a piece of fabric that hasn't been hemmed, kind of thing. So that's what I do. I know a lot of you have seen me do it many times, but for anybody who hasn't, that's what I do. So the first thing I'm going to do is to stick these layers together. Okay. So I've done a lot of cutting out and stuff to save a lot of time already, but here we go with the assemblage, a bit of assemblage. Okay. Right. Tweezers. I thought this was a really lovely soft pink, and I chose it. This is actually just paper, but I chose it because what I want to do next is to use these flowers, and you'll see the flowers are very similar sort of colour. Let me just get the right side of this. That's the right side. Okay, do it this way. And I'll show you what I did in a minute. What I used was a download from, I call it Pingwing, PNG, WING. It's a site where you can pick up lots of free images, and they're free because the whole site is absolutely littered with advertisements, which is obviously how they can be paid for, how the designs can be paid for. So there's my I for Isabel. Here's my E for Eleanor. I've already rounded the edges of that. So next thing we're going to do is to stick these on the top. Okay. I find my cutting machine very useful for lots of things, but I wouldn't want it as my main, my main cutting out machine. I wouldn't do without my dies. I just love my dies. But I would like to ask the question of people who have got posh ones that do, a lot of clever stuff. Is there a setting on them where you can get the edges rounded over like that? It would be more interesting to me if they did. So next comes the pink layer. Get that in place. Love this Burley Arts glue. Love it. Right, I've just put a bit too much on there. Let me just give that a quick dab. That's okay. Right, and the white layer. Which way up is it? That way up. Okay. There we go. And this one goes on the top. Now my idea is that I will just decorate this with a bit of foliage and a bunch of flowers. So I looked through my dies. I chose a few to look at. These here. And this is the one I thought this was just kind of a softer liner. I don't remember what it is, but that can go on kind of like this, or just going over a little bit, just somehow on there. And then what I want to do is to use some of these little flowers. Now what I used was these. These are the downloads that I got from Pingwing. And I've just cut loads out. This one, I don't know, I have no idea where this came from. Might have been from a charity shop, I can't remember. And I just cut it out in the corner, but that corner was actually nearly all white. So I thought, I'd like a bit of colour on there because, you know, the background's all white. So what I did, looked at my chart here with my distress inks, looked at the chart and found a couple of colours that I thought were sympathetic with the colours in here. So looking at it, I chose Tattered Rose, which I think is quite like this one, see, and Worn Lipstick, which is quite like this one here. So what I did, in the corner over here, I just got a small stencil brush and I just dabbed, random dabs all over the place. Then I cut it out with the die and they've come out like this. You can't really tell much difference between those and the pattern on these. So if you don't have capacity to print onto card with your printer, just use a piece of card and dab a bit of colour on and you can, you know, you can get a similar effect. Okay, right, now then, that's going to go on there. I have cut a card base and a little surround, little mount with some of the same pink that I used for that layer there. And that's going to go onto my card front like that. It's such a delicate pink, isn't it? Okay, so I think what we'll do is stick the E onto the card and then we can start to decorate it. So let's just, and I'm not going to put, you know, raise up layers for that. So we'll just stick this on. There we go. Okay, now that's just centralised, and what I want to do, I did cut an extra one of these because I wasn't sure whether the E could take a bit more, you know, a little bit, perhaps like that. If I cut that one down, I think I might. If I don't like it, I don't have to use it. That's all there is to it. Just have a go. It's my my attitude to most things is just try it. You might like it. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, as it were. Okay. Just a little fiddle. Okay, let's stick this on. And this might be a bit more random. I'm just going to put a dot on each petal and a little bit down at the bottom. Okay, this one I'm going to glue them at the same time because I want to be able to tuck this one behind that because my cut edge is not as nice as the cut edge of the die cut one. Okay, let's just see. Where do we want this? About there. And this one. About there. Okay. Now, I thought we'd start adding some of these little flowers. So, let's just have a look and see what they look like where. Just have a little gander. I think this is the very largest. I don't know what the make of these are. It might be Alexandra Ranker. Can't remember. I think I'll just use a random selection. Okay, what I'm going to do is just give them a little bit of shape so they're not absolutely flat. Out comes my embossing tool again. So round like that on the back and push down in the middle on the front. And where do we want this? There. I'm probably going to put a little something in the centre of these. We'll see. Okay, let's have a larger one. Is that the same? I can't tell the difference. Yeah, I think that's a large one. That's a smaller one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, let's just push the middle of this one down. Where shall we put this? Right there. Okay, let's have a smaller one. Same thing. Except the tiny ones. I need a smaller pusher inner for this one. There we go. I think I'll just whiz this up a little bit because it's going to be a bit boring otherwise. Right, let's just see what we can do with a few tiny little gems. I've got some little, these are about a millimetre wide, I think. They're tiny little things, but they're so pretty. So let's see how we can get these off here. I'll try my tweezers. Love tiny gems. There. I think that looks quite nice. I think I'm going to have to make a whole bunch of cards with all these things I've got here. So I'm going to stick that onto its card base, which is here. Make sure it's opening the right way. There we go, that way. I think that's really quite sweet. I don't want to put too many on because I think, it would ruin the overall effect. But I will continue. I do apologise that I have not been adding cards to the community page or to Instagram. I think probably it's started back in December when I was desperately trying to make a video every day for December from the Gummy Pan advent calendar, and it took me all my time to get the videos done, and precious little time for much else really. So I do apologise for that, but I will try sometime to catch up. I've been having trouble also with my laptop. The colours all went kind of yellow, and I was trying to look and edit photographs and stuff, and I couldn't tell what they were like because the colours were all sort of yellow. Anyway, I did an update this morning, and touch wood, at the moment it seems to be better. So there we go, a card for Eleanor. So I'll continue and do something very, very similar for Isabel, and I will, add the email for Dale for making things for from his 3D printer for anybody. But I will ask the question about international postage. But if anybody is interested from elsewhere other than the US, you could always email him and ask the question yourself. But I will ask and find out what the position is. So, as ever, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing again. My numbers were going down last night, I noticed, but I don't think it's people intentionally unsubscribing. So if you could just keep watching, I would be really, really grateful. So have a good weekend, and thank you so much for watching.